Hi, I'm Krzysiek Dróżdż, as you heard already. Who am I? First of all, on a daily basis, I'm a WordPress developer who's working in wp-magus.pl. I'm also a contributor to WordPress, right? So I'm core contributor. I've done some translations to Polish WordPress. I've also been on 2 teams that organized WordCamps in Poland, and I've been a speaker on 5 of them, I guess, already. I'm also organizer of WordUp Wrocław. It's a local meetup, right, for WordPress people. You can also know me from WordPress Stock Exchange. I'm a moderator there and in the top 20, I guess. So maybe we've met already. And I've done some work for Pruchnik, ScanMed, or Polish Ministry of Education. So yeah. And today we will be talking about updates, right? It's the last presentation, so I guess you all a little bit sleepy. So maybe let's do some exercises, okay? Please put your hand in the air if you use WordPress. Okay, nice. Who of you are developers? Okay, a few of them. Well, whatever. Okay. And who from you has done some updates to your WordPress site in the last, I don't know, 1 year? Let's say 1 year. Okay, so you know what updates are, right? Great. Should I update? Who knows the answer? Yes, easy, right? Okay, so we can go home. Okay? Or can we? Is it really that simple? Well, it's not. So let's start from the beginning and let's think of what can we update when we're thinking about WordPress. Ideas?
WordPress itself?
Yeah, WordPress core files. Great. What else?
Plugins.
Plugins. Great.
Themes.
You're good with the, order. Themes, right? No. One more.
Language packs.
Yeah, great. Translations.
Password.
Well, okay, you can change password. It's not exactly updates, but right? Anything else? What else can we update? Other software on your hosting environment, right? Because this is the thing that most of WordPress users forget. Because it's easy to think that I have a hosting company, right, and they do it for me. And they almost do. Because yes, they will update the PHP, for example, by themselves, right? But they won't force you to use it. Most of the hosting companies allow you to select which PHP version you will use, right? So if you start your hosting, few years ago, you will still use the old version because they won't change it for you. So you have to go to the administration panel and select the newest version, right? So you have to remember it, okay? And etc. Right. Why should we update? Come on, ideas. Because of, new functions.
Basically, security is the most important.
Well, to be honest, have you bought a TV in the past few years?
No.
Okay, so New car? New laptop? New phone? Okay. You have bought something, right? Have you bought it because the newer version was more secure, or because the new product was, more fancy? Newer iPhone is better, faster, nicer, and so on, right? So, maybe. So yeah, the most common reason for updates is new functions, right? We updated to 5.0 because of Gutenberg, right? Not because, okay, not because it was more secure or faster or something like, right? Gutenberg, so no new functions, okay? Bugs and fixes. We don't like bugs, we like them fixed, right? So bugs and fixes. Yeah, security bugs. Security bugs is another reason for doing updates. And compatibility, right? Because let's say, WordPress updates to 5.0, right? But then we have to update some plugins so they are compatible with Gutenberg, right? When should we update? That's the hard one.
When we are sure that it won't break the product or service.
Yeah, nice. Well, the most common opinion about that question is because the source code is open, right? So as soon as possible. And almost always when I come up to this answer, it's made by some anonymous expert, right? So it's an expert that I haven't met any time whatsoever, right? So it's just a person who comes up and say, as soon as possible, and then he disappears. But life is a little bit more complicated, right? So there are no simple answers. And if there is a simple answer, it's almost always a wrong answer, right? So this ASAP answer is such case. And this is how it ends. And this is a screenshot from some Facebook WordPress, Polish WordPress support group, right? So you can't read it, I guess, but I'll try to translate. So a person asked that after updating to 4.1.2, his editor stops working, right? So he's not able to publish posts anymore. And one of the Polish hosting companies is very active on that group, so they try to support users, their users, on that group, right? So a worker from that company answers this question and he says, okay, we restored your backup, right? So you have 4.1.1 again. And it's a known issue. A lot of people have informed us that this problem occurs. Okay, so as you can see, doing updates too early can cause problems. Later we will see that answering questions too early can cause problems too, but we'll see it. Okay, so what's the real answer? When should we update? Well, it depends. It often depends, right? So let's take a look at some cases, and maybe then we'll have some intuition about when to update. So case 1. We have a blog, and on that blog we use a plugin to embed Facebook like button, right? And that plugin has an update, that is changing color of this button. So, when should we update? As soon as possible, not someday maybe, never.
Then we want to new code.
Yeah, okay. So, my answer is no hurry, because
No big deal.
no big deal. It won't be a problem if we don't update it, and no stress, right? Because, well, what will happen if you, what can go wrong, right? It's only a color change. So, no big deal, exactly. Case 2, the same plugin, also Facebook-like button, but the update is caused by changes of Facebook API. So if we don't update, then that button will stop working, right? So what do we do now? Okay. Good answer. First of all, no stress, because again, it's no big deal. If we break those buttons, nothing will happen, right? Because it's only Facebook-like button, so okay. Why soon? Because we will have to do it, right? Because our site will stop, this button will stop working, right? So we have to do it. And as soon as we do it, we can check if the plugin works, right? Because let's say the Facebook API will change a month from now, right? If we update the plugin one day before the deadline and the plugin won't work, we have problems, right? So, but rather soon. Okay, case 3. WordPress update with major changes of some basic functions. Can we think of such update? For example, changes of editor. Yeah, controversial changes. So, what do we do? Who's using Gutenberg on the site? Yeah, so I guess I know what we do. To be honest, when I was writing this slide, I was thinking about WordPress REST API, because this was the biggest change I came up to, right? Gutenberg wasn't even published when I was preparing this presentation, but yeah. No hurry, so you all have this intuition already. And we have to be very careful about that update, right? And why? Well, first of all, let's think of the big change in the WordPress core that was published in the last few years. It was REST API and it was Gutenberg, right? What happened after the first version of Gutenberg? A lot of people were saying, okay, it broke my site, it doesn't work, I don't want it, and so on, right? What happened after REST API update? Well, nothing happened for 2 months. And then was January, and then was over 1 million of WordPress sites that were hacked because of the security bug in the REST API. So, yeah, what do we do with update that is changing a major function of WordPress? We wait. First of all, we wait. Second of all, we test. So yeah, so we can be sure that it works. 4. security release for WordPress or a plugin. Just a security release, so it contains only fixes for some security bugs.
It depends on the...
Well, to be honest, ASAP. Why? Because here the argument that the source code is open is really important. If the release contains any security fixes, then anyone on the world can see what was the bug, right? Because if you know how to fix something, you know what was the bug. And if you know what was the bug, you know how to exploit it, right? So very soon will be some exploits on the net. So anyone will be able to just click and attack your site. So yeah, as soon as possible is a good idea. Case 5. It's pretty similar to the previous one, but with a little twist. Security release for a plugin. It was a case of WooCommerce, so popular plugin. And the older version allows that authenticated users can perform SQL injection attack on your site. So, you know, it sounds scary, right? To be honest, this was exactly the WooCommerce case, and almost all media were writing that, wow, WooCommerce, this big e-commerce software has a bug and everyone can do SQL injections if they are authenticated as admin. So yeah, is it really that scary?
Depends. How many
What do you think?
admins you have on your site?
Well, it will be controversial, but no hurry and be cautious. Why? Because you have to be administrator to perform SQL injection in this case, right? So what does it mean? It means that if I'm administrator on your site, I can delete some users. Okay, but I can do it anyway. I can delete some posts. I can do it. I can change some settings. Really big bug, right? It's only one case when this is a really big problem. Can you think of it? No, it's a hard one. WordPress multi-site. Because I can be administrator on WordPress multi-site, but I shouldn't get access to all the database, right? I should have access only to my database. But there are many tables in there, so yeah. And of course, this is a security fix, right? So be cautious because it could be, you know, a quick fix. Quick fixes always or very often are bad fixes, right? Okay, so we have some intuitions. How should we update? How do you update? How do you update your site? So you go to the administration panel, click update, and then pray. Yeah, it's pretty common.
I have experience with WordPress. I'm just starting, but normally what my habit is to have some staging, production, you test
Great.
somewhere, you pick up, you can restore.
Yeah. Great. So staging environment. It's a great solution because you don't have to pray anymore, right? So your knees are kinder and so on. So yeah, you just don't update on the production side. You create some copy, update it. If something breaks, no worry. Production site works. Our copy site, well, we can fix it. We can wait. We can ignore that update and wait, you know, for next version. Maybe next version will work. Okay, so it's pretty easy, right? And pretty nice. But if the site is bigger, then not all of us will choose that way, right? Because creating a copy of your site can be, hard for someone. So at least do backups, right? This is the most important thing just before doing update. Some time ago, there was a girl on the WordPress support forum that wrote a post on Friday at 7 o'clock or something like that please help because it's Friday and I've done some update to a site of my client and everything broke and the client didn't have any backups, so I'm screwed, please help. So yeah, I think she was screwed, but it's not a client fault, right? She should make backups just before clicking update, right? Simple as that. Okay. And I was talking and so on, and some of you were thinking, what is this guy talking about? Because WordPress updates are done automatic, right? Why do I have to think about it even? Well, yeah, some updates are automatic, but not all of them. What will update by itself? Those, most probably you got some emails, right? That your WordPress site has updated to the version blah, blah, blah. Yeah? So what will update automatically? WordPress, yeah, WordPress core. And this will be surprise for you all, I guess, because it was for me. WordPress can update by itself automatically core files, yeah, plugins, themes, and translations. So almost everything. But by default, and this is the important thing, only minor core updates will be done. And this is the surprise, because I haven't known about it. Plugins and themes also can update. Of course, only the plugins and themes from the official repository, right? But only in special cases. Those cases are when the WordPress security team says, yeah, this plugin is harmful, we have to update it very quick, force the update. Okay. Of course, it's WordPress, so you can change that behavior. Here are the settings in WP config that will change this behavior. So automatic updater disabled, well, it turns off all the automatic updates. WP auto update core. This is an option to disable or enable core updates, and it can be true, which will update all versions. It can be minor, it's default value for this constant, right? So it will update only the minor versions, and false, it will disable all updates. And filters. And here will be one surprise too. Don't bother. All of these filters are, documented well on the codex, so just to see them, right? And this bold one is a surprise because this can be a little trap for some developers. Do you use version control systems? Git, SVN, something like that? Yeah? Okay. So if you use one of these version control systems, then you know that there is a directory internal directory, right? So .git, .svn, right? And WordPress detects if such directory exists. And if such directory exists in your WordPress site, then WordPress thinks, so this site is managed by a developer. So he knows what he's doing. So maybe we shouldn't automatically perform the updates. And it will disable all automatic updates. Why it's important? Because I'm not sure if it's a problem in Slovakia, but in Poland many developers are using version control systems, but when they are uploading the site on the server, client server, they upload all of it, including the .git directory. Yeah, sorry.
It's a big problem.
You know, it's a problem when some developers know that version control system exists, but doesn't know how and why to use it. Yeah.
And the implications.
Exactly. Okay. Traps and problems. We're almost on the end of the presentation. Traps and problems. First problem, developers hiding update notices. Again, maybe it's not a problem in Slovakia. In Poland, it's a very big problem. There are many lazy developers in there. So what are they doing? Well, let's say you have a plugin and it's almost exactly what you need, but one change is needed. What can you do? Well, you can modify the plugin. Of course, you can, because it's against best practices and so on, but some developers will do it. What is the problem? If you update the plugin, all the changes will be lost. So we have to hide the update from clients, so he doesn't perform the update, right? So we can change the version of the plugin, or we can write some plugins that will hide the notices. And on WordPress Stack Exchange, almost once a month there is a question how to hide the notices from user, right? So yeah, just don't. And if you're just a user on the site, so check if the plugin, if the notices aren't hidden from you, right? Okay. This is the second problem, and this is a major one. Abandoned themes and plugins. Because, you know, how do you check if any updates are possible to do on your site? You go to your site, you check the notice in the dashboard or in the plugins site, right? And you see that, oh, 2 plugins has some updates available, so I click, updated, right? But if there is a plugin that was abandoned, for example, 2 years ago, it won't notice you anytime soon, right? Because it's abandoned. So you won't get any notices for this plugin. So you have to check not only if some plugin has some updates available, but you have to also check if how old is the plugin, how old are the plugins that you use, and if it's still maintained or is it abandoned plugin. Okay. And this is another problem that for a long time no one even was thinking about. So, you know, there are premium plugins, right? So, for example, advanced custom field, right? Or WPML or something like that. Some of these plugins have also update mechanism, right? So, for example, ACF offers easy updates as normal plugins, right? So you only go to your website, click update, and new pro version is installed, right? Can it be harmful for your site, or is it secure? Well, it's secure when the plugin is still maintained. But some of the premium plugins were abandoned. And what happened? Well, the domains expired. So what then? Some bad people came and bought these domains. So what can they do now? Do you know how the updates works? How do the update work? Okay, your WordPress site sends some request to the WordPress plugin repository and asks if there is a newer version for a given plugin. If there is, we can show the notice. If the plugin is premium, so it's not in the repository. But there is a filter for that, right? So a plugin can implement sending a request to its server. So if you use Advanced Custom Fields Pro, then that plugin sends a request to the ACF server, and it asks the server if there is a newer version. Yeah, and it's pretty fine and pretty okay if the server that is answering this request is still ACF server. But if it's not, if I've taken control over that server, I can answer that request, right? So if I bought the domain of ACF, I can send you a notice that there's a new version of ACF with my code, right? So yeah. So if you use any premium plugins, you have also check if the site and if the plugin is still maintained, because maybe it's not, and maybe the update isn't coming from the plugin you want to install. And it was a case. There was already 2 cases, I guess, of such attacks on the WordPress site. So 2 plugins has lost their domains, and they were bought and used as attacking way. Okay. So that's all. Thanks for your attention, and if you have any questions, so feel free to ask. Anyone?
Do you go to after party?
Excuse me?
Do you go to after party of this WordCamp?
Maybe, but only for a little bit, because I have to go to Poland today. So, yeah.
Welcome.
Okay.
I have a question. What is your proposal to solve the problem with the update of premium plugin? Or do you have any?
The last one.
Yeah. The expert domain.
Checking. So, we offer some maintenance service for our clients, right? And we perform updates for them and so on. So if we do it, and our client has some plugin, some premium plugin on his site, for example, we check if the IP of the domain for that plugin changes, right? Because if the domain was bought, overtaken, right? Then the IP address will change.
It doesn't have to. If you host the same.
Well, it doesn't have to, but it's one of the alerts that, yeah. Another way is to check before you update, right? So don't click update. Go to the site, download the newer version, and check what does it contain. right? What were the changes? And yeah, we performed that too. It's a lot of work, but you know.
Yeah, my question was meant to be about the update flow itself, because you as an author, prevent that if you use some cryptography, but if your domain is lost and so is the private key you use, then the update wouldn't.
Yeah, it's possible, but you know, plugin author would have to.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Yeah, they don't do almost anything, I guess.
Thanks.
My question was about the same topic.
Okay.
Basically, do you have automatic solution to that, or did you do that manually?
Well, the part with IP address we do automatically, right? The part with code review we do manually, but using, you know, Git and so on. So only the
I mean the
changes
of the expired domains and the detection. So we have some script that checks
Yeah.
it automatically for you. And
Yeah, and it works on the client server, because you know, when I ask about the domain, the IP can be the same, right? And it's not important if what I would get. The important part is if client server, which will download the plugin, will get the same IP address, right? Because that's the important part.
And this automation solution, is it like your personal plugin that you add?
Yeah.
Máš niekto za nejakú otázku? Dobre, ďakujem.
Yeah. Okay.